Recording again. Okay, let's go. What was the challenge last week?
Up there.
There you go.
Hi, I'm Austin Eartham.
And I'm Taylor Patton, and welcome to the 1%. Damn, that's just because I was excuse me.
Also, that is way closer than normal.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Maybe you're right.
I think normally you have the screen tilted back more.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with this. It's Kitchen Table Podcast.
I know, just because I was looking at the 1%, I was like, no way. I was like, no way they look at that and say, like, that's good.
All right, ready? We can edit that. Hi, I'm Austin Eartham.
And I'm Taylor Patton, and welcome to the Kitchen Table Podcast.
We're here to motivate, educate, and relate to you guys, sharing our stories, helping you to get 1% better in all areas of your life. Today we're going to be talking about execution. We've had a lot of build-up to this, I feel like, with organization, preparation, some other success, what failure is, et cetera, et cetera. All that comes down to, did you execute or did you not? It's great to plan, but in the end, you got to execute.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think you're right. I feel like last 3-4 episodes have been.
Yeah, and then a little heads up for you guys. Next week, we're going to be talking about getting her done. And to me, that's different than execution, which I'll head on next week. So stay tuned for that. Taylor's like, what do you mean? But there's a big difference that I've been thinking about lately. But
yeah, I was like, I definitely thought, because we talked about this like a few days ago, and I wrote on there, I was like, that's what we were talking about today was get her done.
Yeah.
I thought that's what I was.
But then I added this because a Thursday episode, we're going to have a friend of mine, Nathan Faceout, whose family owns a lot of different realty type businesses in the Iowa City area, over 650 properties. So we're going to talk about how execution is so important for them. So I thought it'd be a good idea for us to hit on maybe execution and talk about the differences to get her done next week. But in other news, we got a lot of good guests coming up, really.
For sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Your friend Michaela's coming in, and we're going to have, I think we're going to have Nate back on here soon. You might not know that, so Nate, if you're listening, appreciate you coming on again, hopefully. We got another episode with Ryan Enerson, sorry. And then we just got a lot of guests lined up for the 1440 coming into the new year. So kind of what we're going to do is have that, and then once we get to Christmas, we're going to have a little reflection period about where the podcast is at, and then we're going to take a week off right before New Year's, spend time with family, and kind of take just a mental break, and then really hop into season 2 and get back after it. Keep growing it.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. In other news, we got a sponsorship. It's like an affiliate. It's Vitargo, which is a company that basically is a carbohydrate drink. So what you do is after your workout or before your workout, you need to either load up on carbs or help recover. So you have 2 scoops of this carbohydrate powder. And essentially, it leaves your stomach in 10 minutes. So it's not like it's heavy and doesn't sit in your stomach like pasta might. Or afterwards, if you're trying to eat a big meal to recover, it just goes right through it. Or if you're trying to do a long, my brother did a 100-mile bike ride this past weekend. So I said, hey, you need some Vitargo in the middle of it. It's like keep you going, right? A lot of people try to have gummies or something like that, but this is all natural ingredients, and it's purely organic, whole foods that are involved in it, and it's not going to sit in your stomach or have any sugar like gummy bears or fruit snacks might.
It's a very high quality product.
Yeah, so I used it in college all the time at UNI. That's kind of how I got going on the stuff with the people at Vitargo. Contacted them, and so it's an affiliate. We'll put the links down there if you guys want to try it. You get 15% off if you use the code, and essentially, the code. I'll put it in the description below. It's a little long.
Yeah.
So I'll just put it in the description. So it'll be better that way. But basically, it really helps you get 1% better in the workout realm, in my opinion.
Mm.
That's kind of why I look for a sponsor of them. So we'll put the link down below. Again, thanks to Targo. Appreciate you guys. Anyways, moving forward, recap challenge last week.
Yeah, so for me, the recap was to go one step farther than normal in one thing or another. for me, it was, I had two things. One, workout. I feel like it's just a basic one. Yeah, what was it? Friday I hit PRs on pretty much everything. No, Thursday is a push day. And that, yeah, so I hit PRs in every exercise I did. So that felt really good. And then going into today, I just knew I had it. It was another push day today. So I knew I had the mental capability and the physical. So just going harder in that, pushing myself a little bit farther. Other thing, got back into reading the Bible. And that
was good.
Yeah. Or just reading in general as well, but especially the Bible this past week. And that I hit 4 out of 7 days. So we're looking to hit all 7 this week. And that I got 1. Today's check. But yeah, so I think that was really good. And that really started to push myself in my relationship with Jesus Christ. So
that's great.
And that, what about you, Austin?
Mine was really just to be patient. I know I had a lot of busy stuff coming up this weekend. Was in a wedding for one of my best friends back home. And then just like communication with my fiance and being patient on what she needs, because she might not need or know everybody. And then me knowing that I'm not going to have my normal schedule and just trying to be patient with life. And it's only a couple of days to just be a part of their big day, and it's not necessarily about me. And kind of like I said a couple of weeks ago with the whole pizza thing that the guy forgot, you know?
Yeah.
Just me trying to be patient with what's going on. So trying to think that extra step of it's not just about me, that other people have stuff going on as well. And continue to reflect on trying to make myself slow down a little bit. So that was good, especially coming up with the holidays. You learn a lot when you have a fiance that you need to think about 2 things, not one. Because when you're dating, you can kind of like get away with doing what you want. But now it's like, okay, I gotta do more compromising.
Right.
So thinking a little further down the realm of that was my big thing. Also, I forgot to put timestamps. So everybody, that's why I'm getting on my phone here. We gotta write timestamps today.
No, I mean that's good because again, like it's like that next step. So it's better to be prepared now than till you're married and then
exactly.
figure everything
Might as
out.
well get going on. So
For sure. But yeah, hopping right into it, you have the definition pulled up.
we gotta do quote of the week.
Oh yeah. Sorry, my bad.
So quote of the week is by Richard Kovacevic. I don't know how to say his last name. Kovacevic. It says, "A vision and a strategy aren't enough. The long-term key to success is execution, each day and every day." So a vision and strategy aren't enough. The long-term key to success is execution, each day, every day. By Richard Kovacevic. What do you think of that one?
Really well said. Especially like execution, because I mean, every day you're not gonna have that motivation or that like really like fire and that build up underneath within you and that. So just when you get up and you're like just push through it, execute it, no matter like what's going on or anything like that, you're gonna feel a lot better. You're gonna feel a lot more accomplished in the long term when you're looking back at your vision or strategy.
Yeah.
And that especially when you're looking at your long-term goals, your big goal, and that's something you really want to accomplish in that.
Yeah.
And again, I feel like that's what like stops a lot of people from like starting is that execution, that first step. And I love making like vision boards or like those web boards of like one step leads to the next, and that. But then
you got to hit one step before you can go to the next.
Exactly.
Step. And you can execute just having motivation.
Exactly. Like the big thing now, like I see a lot is like a lot of businesses especially in like the Web3 era is like roadmaps and so like again, like then people like talk about it, especially in like the Twitter spaces, that like how like roadmaps are like essentially like fluff and that they just want to see the execution. Yeah. So I like that because that just essentially is like the quote right there for you. And that because you can have a vision and strategies all day long, but until the execution hits,
exactly. You need action, and execution requires action.
Yeah.
So I totally agree. That's what I was going to say. why I think it's good is because long-term success is, like you said, it's great to have a vision. It's great to say you're going to do all this, but until you execute your motivation and put it into an action, and then you hit that step by step, if you want to make it to the NFL, you can't show up one day and try out. You have to be ready and primed for that day, you know? So you have to put in that effort every day. Like you said, you got to be working out or kicking, whatever it might be. Shout out to the Coles kicking people out there. Thanks for listening.
You probably haven't heard of it. I just think of the Rock's like featured song.
I don't know the song.
I know. That's why
I never do. This Vitargo's good though.
It's like brand new. But anyways, like it's about grinding yourself out. It doesn't matter. But yeah, for sure. Great quote of the week. And I can't wait to see that in your quote book in 3 years.
Heck yeah, it might be longer than 3. Anyways, let's take a quick ad break like we always do, and then we'll come right back at him here. All right, we're back. Taylor's back with the dollar bill. It's 2 again. I love that. It's the best part of the podcast.
All right, you want to hit him with the definition?
Yeah, we'll go definition. All right. So we're going to talk about the good kind of execution, not the bad kind. So what we're talking about tonight or today, the carrying out or putting into effect of a plan, order, or course of action. The carrying out or putting into effect of a plan, order, or course of action. Basically what we talked about already, putting that thing into action, doing what you say you're going to do. And I think the biggest thing from it is it requires effort. Again, execution is hard. Think about the NFL, how many upsets there were this weekend. It's hard to win in the NFL. Everybody, it all comes down, talent level is the same. When it comes down to it, coaching level, for the most part, is the same, right? Weather, I mean, you might get a few things that hit and miss in weather, but in the end, it comes down to execution. All things aside, it comes down to execution. So I just think execution in my life, I said everything I want happens 3 years late the other day.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I'm not executing well enough or if it's just timing or I'm not ready for it or what, but I think executing, like kicking, I can make a million kicks in a row, but when you get into a live setting, you start getting that adrenaline, right? You got to get that heart rate down. So I think the whoop's good to know.
You can make a million kicks in a row.
Probably.
But this Saturday, 6 a.m.
I'm not doing, sun ain't even up at 6 a.m.
Why?
Saturday I'll be probably sleeping at 6 a.m. I hope I am at least.
I know when you sleep. I want you up.
And then I just think everything's got to be on point. Your mindset's got to be on point. Everything's got to be flowing to execute perfectly. Think about it. MLB pitchers try to throw a perfect game every day that they pitch. They don't ever execute to perfection. But it's not about perfection. It's about, can you do it better than everybody else? You know what I mean?
That day.
Yeah. Can you execute better than everybody else that day? And that'll end up in good things. If you can do that consistently, then you're getting 1% better. You know what I mean? So I just think in my life how just a little bit of focus and kicking might be better. A little bit of attention to detail might be better. A little bit more preparation, a little bit more organization. All that leads to being able to execute cleaner, quicker, more efficient, and overall just better. Because we talked about organization, how important it is. It might not be sexy. Then we talked about things like being prepared or having good habits or setting goals. But in the end, kind of like our quote said, we have to have that action, but that action has to be done diligently. I think focus plays a big role in execution. Since you want that muscle memory or you want that remembrance, the common ground of, hey, this is what I got to do, this is how I feel, it just happens. Instead of thinking about it, you can just do it, you know? It's like multiplication. Once you learn it, you just do it. Easy multiplication, that is. Where do you think what have you learned?
Sorry, I've been quiet.
I know you've been thinking.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in my brain. I mean, yeah, so for sure, like, I think it really can also like I like throw in like self-awareness. You also have to know where you are.
Definitely,
like,
definitely agree.
Because like the way you execute is different from the way like I execute.
Yeah.
Or like the way your fiance executes. So like even your parents and that like I know my parents like are different. So like just knowing that like you have to like know how you best work and how you best function in that aspect of like your reality. Like I feel like I want to work out in the morning and that, but I know like I get better results.
Yeah, there's an actual thing about that
later in the day.
Yeah, so there's a thing like in the morning it helps you wake up so you're better, but also you're more tight in the morning so it's easier to pull muscle. There's all sorts of like circadian rhythm things and like who's better at this like morning, night. Like I'm best at 10 a.m. 10 a.m. to like 12:30, my best workout times.
Yeah, and like working out at 11.
Oh, but, that's a great point.
Other than that, because then, I mean, if I really had to do it, I'd prefer to work out at 6 or 8 a.m. to get the day started.
Yeah.
But I know I'm not going to lift as well or lift as great or execute in those movements as like I needed to perform to my best ability.
Yeah.
So I know myself there, or like I know that I when I have stuff I want to get done, I work better a little bit later in the day. Like working at 8 a.m. isn't that great. But working at like 10 is really like a good focus point. It's all about 4 or 5.
Yeah, it's all about your rhythms. It's just like sleep. You know how much hours of sleep that is best for you. You know, like eating might be best for you.
Yeah.
Like for me, you're supposed to say like people say turkey slows you down. You know, you feel sluggish. Like my favorite pregame meal is a turkey sandwich. Quick digesting. It's easy. Tastes good, and it just gets you lively. You know, banana and a turkey sandwich. Great.
Did you rolling over here? Yeah, that and just having. I'd say another thing is just like for me is just having gratitude and being able to wake up every day and being able to do what we do, having the freedom, I guess, too. Yeah. As well. I know this is a little bit more around the edge of execution, but I think it plays a big part into it too.
Yeah.
Because when I guess like me thinking like when I have gratitude, like me waking up, being like, oh, I'm thankful for the day.
You're less stressed about it. You just go out and it's more fun to execute it, maybe.
Yeah, I get to live out the day.
It's not like you feel like, oh, I have to go do this now type of deal. It's like, I get to do this. Like, I get to write these 5 papers that I need to do for school or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like you're moving and it's helping you get to better things. You know what I mean? It might be a crappy task that people see on the outside, but then again, after you're done, it feels great to be done with it, and you just accomplished it. Yeah. And you can move on to the next step in your life.
Exactly. So and another thing, like too, is like also like what's the time it takes to get done too? Yeah. Like for me, a lot of times like cleaning and that I usually push off, and like 2 to 10 to 15 minutes, I'm like, oh, it's too late, I'll do it.
Yeah.
But then now, like looking at it, like the last week, I think at least my cleaning's been better. Just because like I want to get it done, like then move on.
2 a.m. I get stuff done, so I move on.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, just like and like dishes, like and have that like I usually just put them in the sink. Yeah, that's like last week.
Well, that's right. I think for me is when something's harder or it's going to take longer, I start with it because then you get the hard thing done first. So much easier to do after that, right? Think about in working out normally. I mean, if you're doing like powerlifting and stuff, you do your clean, your jerk, or your squat, whatever first, and then you do the accessory lifts after because it takes the most energy and you need the most amount of execution for that lift. Yeah,
and you're gonna get the most out of it.
So. Yeah, exactly. So it makes sense to do the hardest thing, the most beneficial thing, the longest thing.
Yeah.
Right. If you have 4 classes and one has a PowerPoint, you have to do a project. And another one, you have to write a paragraph. I mean, to me, I'm going to do the PowerPoint first because I know it's the hardest thing. So once I get that done, I know I have 10 minutes. I can write a paragraph and I'm done. If I need to wake up and go out of bed and do it, I technically probably could. But I execute as good, probably not. But that's where I think like time management also plays a role in execution. If you're not, again, it goes with organization, preparation, all this stuff in season 1, I think all run together to make you just 1% better. But
yeah, I think another thing on like everything I don't want to get done. If I like something pisses me off or makes me mad,
then you do it.
Then I do it.
Yeah. we're at a wedding and Taylor's over here cleaning. He's ready to go home.
I'm like, yeah.
He's like, we gotta get it done.
I felt bad at that point. I was like done with the day, and then like for me, like this is like me being selfish, but I didn't like the music being played. I was like, I'm not dancing to this.
Yeah.
So I'm like, actually, I'm cleaning up.
Yeah.
So I walked around our friend's wedding and just cleaned up the tables, which made the cleaning afterwards a lot easier.
Yeah, it did.
So I felt really good, and I was like partially like not sober.
Which again, I like doing preparation stuff like that, so that you can execute what really matters, you know?
Yeah.
So like for me, I want to work out after school, right? I go to school so that when 3:30 hits, I'm working out.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to get everything planned during like a prep hour or something, get the schedule up for next week on Friday, so that Monday when I come in, I can actually stretch because I have first hour off. So I can have 10 minutes to stretch instead of trying to get stuff ready for class. That way I walk in the building, I'm not stressed.
Yeah.
I walk in, I get a little time, I can stretch, and then I can kind of move on, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, execution should purely be, you just got to do the action.
Right.
It shouldn't be hard because everything else should make it easy.
And then when you fail to execute, it just creates regret.
It does, and it pisses me off.
Mm.
I'm back to the kicking camp. I know, again, I can make a million kicks in a row, and then if I miss one in a competition, I get pissed because it's like, how did I miss this? Like the story, you were kicking world. Last year at a combine in Phoenix where coaches come and watch, I didn't do great on kickoffs, so I was just obviously so angry because I didn't execute those. That was just unfortunate. But then I started, like, I was in a zone. Like, I get pissed off and I'm in the zone. I was talking more about the get her done. It wasn't quite the effort zone. It was more like the motivation zone.
Yeah.
And I was just, it didn't matter. It was like I couldn't mess up more. So, again, I was grateful. In a way, I was grateful to mess up because I did not care if I missed after that. It was like you're kicking to make it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then I started just bombing the field, like perfect balls. It was great. I still watch the video on YouTube to this day, just because, like, to remind myself of visualization of doing it correctly. You know, I want to visualize executing correctly.
That and like also like the gratitude, just being able to chase the dream.
Yeah, and it was, I mean, nighttime. The lights were on. It's like you're under prime time, and you got to qualify for it. And in warm ups, it's like, wow, I'm better than these guys. Like, you always wonder like how it's going to shape up. Because you see like YouTube videos and they think, oh, they kick further, they have better ball height, this and that. Mm-hmm. And then I have positives, negatives about my kicking, but overall I was like, wow, there's no reason I can't win this. Mm-hmm. So I was great going in. So the field goals I started making, and then I had one little miss up with my hips, and I just pushed the ball left. And of course I was like, all right, that's fine, one miss, we can move on to bonus. And it took so long that the bonus got cut out, so I didn't make the bonus. So I was done after 5 kicks instead of keeping going. And the people who, I mean, I think in most people's opinions, it shows because nobody got signed from it, that there's like 5 to 8 guys that are like pretty good. And then there's like another 5 guys who happen to be in the finals. None of them ever made a contract in the NFL. They didn't even get a workout. But it took so long, so they're like, oh, we're going to cut the bonus. So it sucks. Especially because the good people weren't in it. So to execute, I mean, it just happened that we all didn't execute, you know what I mean? So it's frustrating for that one little hiccup that I didn't execute. That's how important it is. Just like, again, going back to the whole pitcher thing. You know how many times they aren't perfect? Pretty much every time they go out. So again, can you do it better than everybody else? And can your bad pitches, your bad balls, your bad papers you write, instead of being a C, can they be a B? Instead of a B, can they be an A? We always talk about that in the sports world. If you're lifting form, right? Mm-hmm. CrossFitters have 15% less maxes than Olympians. That's it, 15%. I guarantee you that 15% is not strength, it's execution. So CrossFitters, can you move it? Can you move the bar closer to your body? Can you move it quicker to your body? Can you recover quicker between the run and the lift? It all helps with execution. So can you do it better than everybody else consistently? Can you make your C be a B, then your B be an A, and can you hit your A more often than your B? That's 1% better right there. It's not going to be an F to a B, right? If you're a D student and that's the best you can do, that's an A. And we'll talk about this in season 2 also.
Sure.
But then make that D be make yourself be a C. You know what I mean? So start getting C's in grades, and then start getting B minuses. Of course, you're going to have a hiccup now and then. Everybody has a bad day. But the best people show up in the time that matters the most. That's definition of execution, in my opinion. Not literally, but figuratively. You know?
Yeah.
So I just think execution, it's got to have details. You got to get it down to a T. And like you said, you got to know yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, like, again, like those D's, like you used the example, like these students and that, like for me, like that's me, like I was not a great student, and I knew this throughout high school, throughout college, so I never like put effort into it. I never wanted to execute it because I knew I wasn't good at it, because I knew it wasn't bringing me value.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's one thing too, is like you have to find out like what's bringing you value too. And that, I'm not saying drop out of high school, I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
Please get your at least your diploma. Yeah. And that, but if you listen to this and you're in high school, go through high school. But what I'm saying is, like, other than that, outside of that, like what's bringing you value? What's bringing you happiness? Like what joy you chasing? Like what happiness? What?
Yeah.
And then execute on those things.
And another thing to think about is, does it align with, do all your goals align?
Right.
Is it bringing value in a new aspect?
Mm-hmm.
And is that aspect going to help you become, in an overall bubble,
mm-hmm.
who are you supposed to be? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I feel like that's like something like, I feel like everyone we talk to and associate with, everyone wants to be like a better person.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to be like a more well-rounded.
Which again, I've been thinking about this a lot. Like, so grateful to have like that group of people, and not just. I mean, well, I mean, you are who you hang out with, so why wouldn't you want to be in that group of people?
Mm-hmm.
Genuine people who are going to make you better, you make them better. I think that's why sometimes people get on me, especially you and Stephanie, just because you two are like the main ones that I really shove hard, I guess, if you want to put it that way, to be better.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's important to find a balance too with execution and trying to better people.
Yeah, I mean, again, like you only can help better people that want to get better.
Yeah.
And that, until then, like that.
But in the end, you can't make them better for them.
Exactly. They have to do it themselves, and they have to want to have that drive, that execution, and which is, again, like if it's something that they are not passionate about,
then they're not going to do it.
Yeah, like the kids you say in school.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
You're not gonna like automatically one day they're not gonna wake up and be like, I'm passionate about.
Yeah, that's one of my goals. That was one of my first questions in teaching. How do you get people to change their minds? That is literally one of the hardest things to do, in my opinion. Get people to change their minds. Yeah. We should do an episode on that. That's so good.
I don't want to say like it's necessarily about changing people's minds. It's about perspective. I think perspective is what changes people's minds. And it's because this is another reason why like people don't understand like why it's so great to live in America.
They should spend time in third world countries.
Yeah. Okay. So I just read Gary Vee, and that just dropped his new book.
Yeah.
And I swear that Gary Vaynerchuk has written more books or had people write more books for him, and that he's read. And I promise he doesn't learn that way. He like, and that he's a DS student and that. So, but he says, I swear he has like 5-6 books out now, something like that. And he's definitely is close. But anyway, I wrote down some of these statistics today. I wrote them down here, but I have them in my other journal. So, did you know and that 820 million people in the world are malnourished currently?
Okay.
785 million people are without basic drinking water.
Yeah. And
then 60% or 4.5 billion, there's 7.7 billion people in the world right now. Okay. Just so that way. The 4.5 billion people don't have a proper working toilet to disregard human waste.
It's probably bad on climate change too.
We should end, like, those statistics are insane. Because I think like those things are just basic things in America.
Well, just think, literally, Elon Musk, he's the richest person in the world, and I see on Twitter all the time about people, we're kind of going off the tangent right now, but people like, why don't you solve world hunger and stuff?
Yeah.
Legit, why, I mean, get a plan together.
Yeah.
And
I think he said that.
And figure it out. Yeah, but he's kind of like halfway joking, halfway not. I did see he's going to do something with Flint, Michigan, with the water. Yeah. But in all honesty, you can solve that big of a problem.
There's like over 2 million people that don't have.
So instead, we're trying to take people to space for $500,000.
Right.
I understand the electric car, build underground railroad. People need. Why can't we just execute those things?
Right.
Again, priorities play a role in execution.
Yeah, like NASA executes like space, like navigation and travel. And that they used to, they were like founded to navigate like the ocean, and then they just stopped one day. And that's I don't know the inner details, but I was like watched the video on it, and they just stopped.
You know what's funny?
Completely stopped and started to focus on space.
That's funny because we know like 5 times more about space, like or 7 times more or something. 7 like in terms of than oceans.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because space is huge.
Right.
And really, I mean, compared to the ocean, space is way big.
Yeah.
And we don't even know the bottom of the ocean for the most part.
Right. Wild. Yeah.
And that's funny that NASA's the one who does space, and they were supposed to do the ocean. I didn't know that.
So I wonder, like, like it's like one of the conspiracy theories that like people like wonder about, like what they find that's like they just like stopped one day and just like instead of going down, we're going up.
Yeah, and sometimes
that's like the key. Instead of like why should we keep people on Earth? We're trying to figure a way to get off.
Hitting on that, I do think it's important for execution to know when you need to change your execution or your plan. Yeah,
and that's a great thing. Is like so maybe then I don't know exactly why NASA decided to change what their like mission and focus was.
Yeah,
but that's exactly true. Like when to like switch your execution, when to like focus on something else, when you need to like switch up what you execute on.
Yeah.
And that, like.
When they're all going to take time too. Like space versus ocean, if they're doing it on time, which probably wasn't time. Because I hate, again, I've gone on this thing before, but I hate when people say you have to do more. You have to spend more time on it, right?
Mm.
Just because you sweat in the weight room doesn't mean you're getting better. Just because you spend 10 hours at work doesn't mean you're getting work done.
Right.
So
again, like it depends where you're at.
Yeah,
if that's the first time you're in the gym, you're sweating, you're getting better.
Yeah, but
if you
in purely execution, it's not about how much time you spend.
Right.
Think about Google. They don't have certain hours.
Yeah.
Google gives you a minimum of 15% of your time at Google has to be doing your own innovative project. Has to be.
Which is wild.
And think about Google as a company. One of the best companies. I've even been to Google, actually. I flipped a tire at Google. They have like a workout place. It's so cool. I love it. Anyways, they have like a whole campus. But again, it's not about how much time you spend. It's about what you get done in the time that you have.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Time is so precious.
For sure.
You got other stuff to do. One, change your schedule so you can do it more. I need to do that, right? I need to change my schedule so I can do what I want more. But there's other variables that play a role. But if you can execute that, that's how not only do you get 1% better, you can get 1% better more consistently, or you can get a little more than 1% better because you're spending more time, but you're still executing at a high level. That's when it's best. Maximum time and maximum effort. Right? If I can do a CrossFit workout and I can do 100% effort for longer than you can, let's say we're biking and we try to re-race to 100 calories, right? If I can maintain my level of exertion at 100 and you go down, you start at 100, then you go to 80, then you go back to 90, then you go back to 80, I'm going to win if we're identical. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just because I'm able to produce longer. So once you start to get on a roll of execution, how can you execute longer or how can you execute more quicker? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, because then, again, like, so, like, I would say it's like, not forgetting the word. But anyway, it'd be like an assembly machine or something like that. Like people are always innovating ways to like do things faster, do things quicker. Like the cell phone invented instead of writing letters, now you can just make a phone call or send a text, which delivers in second, not even a second. And that where a letter takes a week.
Exactly.
than that.
And it's just going to keep getting better in terms of technology and stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, again, so like execution just continues to be delivered throughout.
I agree. Okay, so let's talk about some things to execute better. We've talked like time management, self-awareness, all that kind of stuff, lining up with your goals. What?
This is so dumb. Never mind. I'll say it just because I think people need to execute driving better. No, because I was literally driving today, and like people don't let people on, and then it creates a traffic jam. Instead of just like letting people on, like the zipper system.
It's so true.
It's like,
but then and then you get people who want to be first, and then it's like, oh, you're stuck behind this car. It's not like you're moving anywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like I let a person on in front of me that was turning, and then the person behind me, there's like 3 cars trying to get out in this construction. So I was like, okay, the person behind me is gonna let this person in. Doesn't. The person behind them doesn't let. I was like, now there's like 5 cars over. Like I was so mad. I was like, these are the people I don't want to be friends with. Yeah, I literally thought that. Like I was upset. I was like, you guys aren't gonna let these like people in. Like you're just gonna be selfish like that.
Well, think of like a big city too. If people would just like wrecks, and people slow down when there's a lot of cars in traffic, or there's wrecks because people don't know how to drive, or they don't let people on and off. If they would just drive the speed limit
and to stay aware.
Yeah, everything could just keep flowing. I mean, it'd be backed up a little bit for stoplights, but my goodness, how hard is it? You know what I mean?
Execution driving, you get there a lot quicker.
Seriously. Another fun story. I took driver's ed with my uncle, and I cheated in all the tests, and the second time I drove, he took me out for ice cream. I was driving with ice cream cone. But I like drove the tractor and stuff growing up. My brother had to take actual driver's ed because he sucked at driving. Mm-hmm. But I was always a pretty good driver. Anyways.
That's very true.
Let's talk about some ways that Forbes tells you to get better in the workplace, execute better. We're going to have, again, Nathan Faceout on here on Thursday, and he's going to talk about execution in his workplace. So I thought this was a good place to start.
All right.
So Forbes,
enlighten me.
All right. Forbes says, be strategic and clear. So again, goals, right?
Yeah. That's perfect. That's like literally the
perfect example.
Quote. I like thinking over.
Okay, next one is set stretch goals and deadlines. Right? So
define stretch for everyone.
That's what I'm saying. So I think that's different in every situation.
Right.
But there's like a deadline, and then there's like a hard deadline. You know what I mean? Like, so if somebody messes up, okay, you have 2 more weeks. After that, there's consequences type deal.
Understandable.
Or if there's in the sports world, you're always on a time frame, right? The competition's here, so you got to be ready.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You can't say like, hey, we're gonna go
back. Yeah, exactly.
Right. I got you. Okay.
Another thing is going off the reflection is to give feedback often, whether that's in your employees, that's self-reflecting. Everybody, even flipping, hopefully not flipping the bird when somebody's driving, but that feedback makes you reflect.
I rarely get angry in traffic, so I would never flip someone the bird, but
but
anytime they get in a good thing today, it's not a big.
Feedback is important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ideally, not just a simple message, but more of a
it's got to be intentional.
Yeah, exactly.
Wanted.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a whole system. We can definitely do an episode on feedback.
Yeah, I like that. I'm gonna write that down for sure.
Yeah, because again, like it's got to be wanted. It's got to be. It's got to be like immediate. You can't get feedback 6 months later.
Yes, totally agree.
And then be like this on that one day on February 13th. You didn't talk to me the right way. Like that's not helpful.
And you got to be honest and upfront about it. You can't just hide it and beat around the bush, you know.
Right. But in a civil way. Don't be a jack. Don't be a jackwagon. Because then it's just going to create issues for everyone around you.
And that goes with the next one, which is build team unity. Yeah. If you do that, again, your workplace is just better in general. Or if you're doing that self-reflection, if you're honest with yourself and you're building yourself up, everything will be.
And that's even outside, like, not only is that like your workplace, that's like your family, your friends, your acquaintances, like just anyone you meet essentially like is part of the team.
Yeah.
When I'm driving down the road, people around me are part of my team to not hit me, and I don't want to hit them. And that's so we're going to work together to not hit each other and travel at a safe pace to get to each other's destination.
Yeah. And the last one that I would say, that's for 4 from Forbes. I thought there's 5. There's only 4. Last thing, what I would say is truly you got to have a plan and be organized and prepared for that. If you never watch film and football, it's going to be hard to win.
You're right.
Even if it's just film on yourself.
Yes. Yeah. I don't want to be like the devil's advocate, but also like know yourself too.
Yeah, you don't need to overplan.
Yeah, like if you know yourself, that you just have like if you travel better, just knowing where you're going, great.
Yeah.
And then you just like live.
Whatever. I think a good way to sum it up is whatever you need to do to be stress free in order to just focus on the task that you need to execute. That's what matters. Yep. And all the other stuff set aside. Yep. What really matters is how can you put your time and effort on the task at hand and be present.
Yeah. And where people need you.
Yeah, and be the best you can be at that time.
Absolutely.
That's what I think is important. Challenge of the week is to just simply do that. Carry out your best plan that you can think of. However you are stress-free, carry that plan out and be able to put 100% effort and focus into whatever. Let's just take wake up and say one thing that's important to you today. Okay, how can you execute that one thing today to perfection? Is it making chicken and rice for your family? Is it being diligent in your prayer? Is it reading a book? Mm-hmm. Is it making sure that you text an old friend and have an intentional conversation? Is it your workout? All right, this lift I'm really going to focus on. Mm-hmm. Maybe not the whole lift. It could be one lift.
Right.
It could be bench press. It could be cleaning. It could be squat, whatever it is.
Yeah. So now like last thought per se. Yeah, especially like when you're executing to your fullest, I feel like you're more satisfied, more happy with your life.
Yes. It's like my dad always said when I was growing up, do 10 good push-ups rather than 50 bad ones.
Mm-hmm. You're going to get farther.
Exactly.
A lot faster.
Matters a lot more. Your endurance will grow as when you get 10. Okay, I've got 10.
Yeah.
Now I can get 12.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Give yourself a challenge, but not too much.
I'd say execute. Good execution teaches you good habits.
Oh, totally. That's a great quote. I love that. It's totally true. Again, if you're a kicker listening, make 30-yarders. You don't have to go kick 50-yarders. Maybe kick one at the end, but make all your 30-yarders.
Right.
So
I'm with you.
I think that was good.
I'm going to go practice my kicking now.
Love it. Appreciate you guys. Happy Thanksgiving. Make sure you guys spend some time with family.
Absolutely. Eat some turkey.
Yeah. See some loved ones. Hopefully you haven't seen in a while, especially with the pandemic being over / now. I guess it's coming back, but we won't talk about that.
Either way.
Have a great great Thanksgiving break.
Yeah. Have a great Thanksgiving. We appreciate you, dealer. Thank you for supporting, listening, everything possible under the moon. We love you. We're so thankful for you guys. Love you. Bye.
Boom.
I guess we didn't say social media, but we're just thankful.
Yeah.
Also, I'm pretty sure we're close to 1,000 downloads this week.
1,000?
Yeah. Oh, again, we're close to 1,000 now. Like, not like as like.